Welcome to Tell Me All About It, the podcast where curiosity meets conversation. I'm your creator and host, Brianna Guyton, here to dive into stories, insight, and everything in between. The title of this episode is called, I'm Giving You Permission to Make a Mistake. To start off with a quote from Lewis Carroll, famous writer, it's quotes, "In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take." I thought about this. Oftentimes in life, before we start something new, we ask this famous question, what if I make a mistake? What if I do something wrong? That question alone creates so much anxiety before we even get started. What if I make a mistake? What if I mess up? What if I screw up? What if this goes wrong? Think about when you're in school and your teacher tells you to solve a problem. She gives you a problem on something you never learned. And she says, do your best. She knows you didn't learn how to do it. She knows she didn't teach you how to do it. And there's all this anxiety of how you're going to solve this answer. How am I going to do this? I don't know what I'm doing. She never taught this. How am I going to start with this? But then she comes along and says, don't worry if you make a mistake. Don't worry if you don't know what you're doing just yet. I want to see what you can do right now. When someone comes along and says, don't worry if you make a mistake, doesn't it make things so much easier? Doesn't it make you feel so much better if I screw up, or if I make a mistake? This isn't the end of the world because I was already told, don't worry. Don't feel bad if you make a mistake. It makes things so much easier. Think about every time you thought about going for something new, whether it was starting a business, going for a job, a promotion, starting a new podcast, or starting a book. The first thing that pops in your head is, what if I make a mistake? What if I'm not qualified? What if I do this? What if this turns out to be a mistake and I shouldn't have done it? Well, that's where I'm coming in. I'm giving you permission to make a mistake. Whatever you're pursuing, or what you're passionate about, or what you dream of, or what's that vision in your head, or what's on your heart, make a mistake as you pursue it. Mistakes are part of the journey. Mistakes are part of the course. Everyone makes mistakes in anything. Even the professionals make mistakes on something they do every single day. Stop thinking of mistakes are this negative thing. You have to look at a mistake as, now I know how not to do something. No one has done something and never made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. It's what you learn from the mistakes that make you better at what you do. Think of mistakes as learning how to do something better. I know how to not do this, so it must be this way. Think about it when you're at work. You go to work every single day. You're not perfect at your job. You make mistakes at work. That doesn't stop you from going to work the next day. You go back. But because you don't have someone telling you it's okay to make a mistake, you get nervous. You get frustrated. You get antsy and you say, no, well, I'm quitting. I'm not doing this. This is not meant for me to do because I made a mistake. Mistakes are part of it. Learning from your mistakes is what makes you better at what you want to do. Think about it. Doctors, teachers, lawyers, judges, people on these jobs who should not be making mistakes still make mistakes. And they have to come back to work the next day. And they learn from their mistakes and they get better at it. So they don't make that mistake, or they learn from that mistake and they help others. Mistakes are a part of it. Now for me personally, I've allowed mistakes and fear of making mistakes stop me from doing what I love. I was always afraid of making a mistake or looking foolish in front of friends and family. I've had the idea of starting this podcast for years in my head. I've always had a passion for interviewing people. Always loved getting to know what's outside of my world. Who are the people around me? Getting to know these interesting stories about these people. I've always had that in my head. But I was too scared of actually doing it. I sat on that idea for 3 years before I actually did anything with it. And then I finally did it. I finally got that nerve. I convinced myself to do it. And once I finally did it, I made a mistake and I stopped after 2 interviews because my podcast didn't look like how everyone else's did. My interviewing skills didn't look like how everyone else's did. My numbers didn't look like everyone else's. I just kept making little mistakes here and there. And I got frustrated. And I'm like, this must be my sign to stop. And I quit. I quit on myself. I quit on my vision. because I kept making mistakes. I look back now and I think all those little mistakes are what made my podcast, or my vision, or my podcast. Mistakes are what makes you, you. You learn from your mistakes and you know how to do something better. Or sometimes mistakes are what put you right where you need to be. So finally now I've gotten to a point in place. I'm not going to allow the fear of making mistakes stop me from doing what I love. And that is interviewing and podcasting and talking on this mic. I'm going to do this with the full intent of making mistakes and learning from them and getting better from them. I have every intention of making mistakes on the pursuit of being better. And any person who hears me, I want them all to make a mistake on the pursuit of doing something that they love. Make the mistakes. All right. To wrap it up, I hope you guys enjoyed my very first solo podcast. I want you guys to know I give you full permission to make a mistake. Make as many mistakes you have on your vision, your dreams, your passion, on your pursuit to them. I'm telling you, won't regret it. Make all those mistakes, because every mistake will lead you to seeing your vision through, seeing your passions unfold, seeing your dreams come true. Make the mistakes and learn from them. That is how you grow, by making mistakes. For more content, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Tell Me All About It. Make sure you follow me here on Spotify. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page at Tell Me All About It 99. As always, I'm always looking to cover new stories for my podcast. I'm always looking to cover stories with people, unique stories. So DM me, email me. My email's linked to my Instagram and my YouTube page, so always send me an email. Until next time, you guys, this is Bree.